third year English.
What else?
The children are improvising on the subject of teachers' and parents' complaints.
Yes, I've got another teacher with what was there.
Their teacher is Bill Smith.
What's his name?
Oh, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
I know him.
Do you?
Yes, I think he's an idiot.
Not the only one.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Well, make an appointment for you to come up to the school one time.
What time, would you say?
I don't know. Could you phone up later on and I'll find out another time?
Yes, all right.
Right, cheerio.
Bye.
Did you think that sounded the sort of conversation that you would have?
You wouldn't think Mr. Smith was an idiot?
Do you think was the parent satisfied with the answer that he got? Sort of. Yeah. Well, what did you want him to say? I mean, you said you wanted to complain, and what? Did you think you palmed him off nicely, or what?
Yeah. We'd have got his winter warmers.
Do you want to do your face-to-face one now? Then?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is this the same thing or a different?
Different.
Different, right. Listen to both of them so that we can see.
The genuine complaints of teachers are most likely to be heard not in the classroom, but in the staff room.
Oh, yeah. Now, unless you can actually know you're going to move forward in one respect or another, I mean, you know, you're a lunatic to keep on giving something for nothing all the time, aren't you?
Yeah, but you don't do it just for that reason. I mean, you do it because you enjoy it.
Oh, you do
as
it
well.
for satisfaction, yeah, of course you do. I mean...
Which is the most important to you? Do it the satisfaction you get out of it or the money you don't get for doing it?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the satisfaction, I mean, can go some way towards it.
If I didn't get any satisfaction out of doing it, I wouldn't do it.
But people don't come in for Saturday morning games. People don't do brass bands and other things just for the money, because there ain't no money in it.
Right.
But the point is, when you're doing it, you don't expect to suddenly find that there is no way forward career-wise.
No, but you also don't start doing it just because if I do this, I open up a promotion route.
No.
You don't do it.
No, you don't get promotions. You can't expect to.
Promotional prospects don't affect the way you work at all.
I think that's true. I think they affect you generally, don't they?
Yeah.
They must do.
They do.
They must do. If you're not happy in your job, you can't do such a good job, surely.
Oh, no, but you're not going to deliberately say, well, if I teach this way, I'll probably get promoted fast.
Oh, no.
Look, Dave, if you're happy in what you're doing and you can see promotion prospects, you go in that classroom, you teach enthusiastically. Now, half the key in teaching is the enthusiasm which you instill the kids in your subject or whatever. Now, if you're feeling despondent, you're not going to put that enthusiasm into it.
In some ways, what we should be doing is arguing with our unions to try and get a better scale structure to allow for the fact that people are going to be on scales for longer, and therefore that there should be a better progression through the grades.
But shouldn't we in fact be pushing for more points and more flexibility within the scores?
But I mean, in the present political climate, that is not going to be...
The scale point structure is the system which controls teachers' pay and the possibility of promotion. Every school has a fixed number of scale points, depending on its size and status. A new teacher joins a school on scale 1 at a salary of £4,900. After several years, the teacher may be offered promotion with new duties and an increased salary. He's therefore offered a scale point and becomes scale 2. One more promotion, one more point. He becomes scale 3. One more, scale 4. If the teacher were promoted further, to deputy head for instance, or moved to another school, his scale points would be relinquished, returning to be used again to promote staff further down. This system is one way of controlling the cost of education. For Kingswood, that responsibility lies with the Northamptonshire County Council and its Chief Education Officer, Michael Henley.
I don't think we spend enough on education. No, I don't. That's clear. I think there's a very strong body of public opinion which considers that ample expenditure is provided already for education, whereas those of us in it, and in particular teachers and governing bodies of schools, think there's not enough spent on education in a variety of ways. So one of the major things to do is to try to persuade the public that in fact we do need to spend ample, which is rather more than we're spending at the moment, and that what is spent is in good hands.
Michael Henley keeps in personal touch with Northamptonshire schools and their needs.
It is useful to discuss what should be spent, but from my day-to-day operation, I have to manage what I have to spend, and therefore we try to establish a dialogue which enables us to ensure that the reductions are minimal. Now, in some ways, of course, the more successful we are, the less of a case there is to the public at large to actually spend more. So it is very difficult, and there's a dilemma, and the schools have the same dilemma. I think my major responsibility is to manage the resources I've got as effectively as I can.
Management of resources is a prime function of the scale point system.
Come on! Come on, somebody get that creep!
In Kingswood's English department, there are 6 full-time teachers.
Come on!
Richard Earle has degrees from the University of South Africa and Sheffield. As head of English, he's on scale 4, with 3 scale points and a salary of approximately £10,000 a year.
Cracking across the side of the knuckle bone. First stroke made him cry. The second made him sick. Right, that's the end of the extract from the story. What is the subject of that?
Second in the department is Andrew Mills, scale 2, with 1 scale point.
Extract is, what would you say it was? Yes? Sorry, say again? Corporal punishment. Well done. Corporal punishment. What is corporal punishment? What kind of punishment? Yeah. Put your hands up, yes?
It's like a cane.
It's caning.
It's hitting.
Hitting, beating of some kind. Corporal punishment. Well, what I want to think about today is what's your opinion? Do you think corporal punishment, which is allowed in schools, do you think it, I mean, that's the idea of punishment, that it should stop people doing in future what they're being caned for? It's the idea of corporal punishment. That's the idea of any form of punishment in schools. Do you think it does that? That's what I want to think about today. Paul, did it do any good with you?
The teacher said to me he was going to expel him, but he said to the teacher he'd rather have the cane, because if his dad knew and got expelled, he would kill him. So the teacher gave him the cane.
Yes.
And he wasn't expelled.
What effect did that have on...
Andrew Mills has a degree in English and American literature from the University of Kent and has been at Kingswood for 7 years.
So is that an argument against having corporal punishment or not?
No.
It isn't. You'd still have it, would you?
Yeah.
You would? Why? Do you want to say something, Rakesh?
If you get expelled and your dad finds out, he's going to hurt you more than the cane is.
That's a good idea.
And he's going to keep on nagging you about it.
If it was a choice between being expelled and cane, you'd have the cane, would you? What do you think, John?
Well, I think it should be kept because it would stop people smoking and things like that. I think it should be kept.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't think, can you think of any reasons why? You haven't actually got a reason, have you?
No, but if you were just going to have lines or telling off, they wouldn't be bothered and they'd just kept on getting lines. And if you had the cane, then it would maybe stop them, but maybe most of the people would stop them.
Yeah. Your argument is that caning is a deterrent, meaning that it would stop people doing the bad thing again in the future. Right?
Would you prefer to be expelled or have the cane?
Something have the cane. I think the cane better. Because it'd be all over in 1 minute.
Oh yeah, but you'd still be sore, wouldn't you?
Yeah. What have you put? Do you think it should be banned?
I don't.
Carry on.
No, but most of us think...
No, I don't think it should be banned either. Do you think it should be banned, Dawn? Because it does you good. Do you think it should be banned?
But most don't know, really.
My dad used to get it practically every day, but it didn't do good in the end.
I'm beginning to feel the muscles on the back of my legs beginning to tighten up.
Trevor Hewitt also has a scale point, not for departmental duties, but as school librarian. He has a degree from the Open University and has been at Kingswood for 6 years.
Now, I think I could carry on for see, the point is that I'm beginning to lose what I'm saying because I'm beginning to concentrate too much on the exercise itself. And I'm also thinking, I wish I'd never suggested doing this in the first place. I'm finding it very painful Because what's happening is that I can't sort of keep me ankles up. And now, as soon as I stop, I feel a little bit dizzy and I feel as though I'm shaking a bit. Come on, Ashley, you say you're fit. Well, I say you're fit, come on. Oh, it's right, a young lad. Right, OK, now if you can just jog on the spot for 30, all right? So, off you go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, that's it. Now keep going. Now look at that style. Notice the way he's lifting his feet. Now, if he did about another 200, and he doesn't know when I'm going to tell him to stop, if he did another 200, he'd soon start to make his body sag. But as soon as you feel tired, just stop. Right. Now, what do you feel?
Nothing.
Well, do you feel your heart pounding, racing? Do you feel your muscles tightening up?
No, just out of breath slightly, that's all.
What description of the animal are you given? What picture do you get of it? If you had to draw it, for example, what sort of things come to your mind? Maybe the green eyes of the tomcat, for example, his fangs fine as a lady's needle. Mention words or phrases that appeal to you. And finally, what features, or maybe just one, of the animal does Hughes concentrate on? I think if you read through the poems again, you'll find there's just one thing that he tends to turn his attention to about each of the animals. The horses, the tomcat, pig.
Alan Grimes is an Oxford graduate. He's been at Kingswood for 3 years. He's Scale 1 with no scale points.
Or what? And as I say, the list is not exhaustive. If you've got other ideas about how he feels about each particular animal, then I'd like you to plonk it down and we can have a talk about it. I'm going to give you, say, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to have a go, looking at the poem with those headings in mind.
Right. We started down there when round sticks up. So how far have you got then, down yours? Up to about here? Yeah. Well, do you agree?
Yeah.
Mary McIlvenny, a Bachelor of Education with honours from Leicester, has been at Kingswood for 7 years. She's also Scale 1, with no scale points. Bill Smith, at 45, has been at Kingswood 8 years.
Exact. Chicken pox, remove. And that's why you give me German measles removed. Sure.
Right, okay. I didn't understand. What do you mean he gave you German measles instead of chicken pox?
He gave me the wrong stuff.
You mean the wrong medicine?
Yeah, the wrong medicine.
Oh, I thought you were studying German measles.
No! Give me the wrong stuff.
Bill Smith has a teacher certificate from Leicester and a scale point, but it is only temporary. The scale point was originally held by a teacher who went on temporary secondment to another school. In his absence, the point, with its duties and salary, was allocated to Bill. The other teacher has now decided not to return to Kingswood. Bill's scale point, therefore, could now become available, for in the scale point structure, possession is not 9/10 of the law. In fact, there are 2 such points within the system, temporarily held, but potentially available for redistribution. Such opportunities are rare. The headmaster and deputies discuss the possibilities.
You see, really, those points are, if the model was adhered to, Colin, those points are all spoken for. One would go to the English department and one would go to the maths department.
Yeah.
Agreed? Yes. So the first decision to make is, are we going to rip them off from where they are to put them somewhere else?
You rip off the English department one.
Now, if we do that, there will be hell to pay.
Not too great a price.
Well, that's that's the question. I mean, you think that's all right?
What I would do with the whole thing is to give Adam Palmer 1, to give Dick Stapley 1.
Yeah, Adam's a must, isn't he?
So that would definitely be a first priority. Then you've got to examine what you're going to ask him to do for it.
That's so sort of materialistic and mercenary.
Well, of course it is. Well, what exercise are we carrying out but a materialistic, mercenary exercise? We're dishing out money. Are we? What does a bloke have to do to prove he's worth a scale 2?
Yeah. Let's close that discussion. Adam gets
He grafts from
yes.
8 o'clock in the morning
Adam
till
gets a scale 2.
midnight.
And we'll decide what it's for in a minute. Adam gets a scale 2. And you're with that?
Definitely.
Right. Right.
Adam Palmer will therefore receive a scale point to become Deputy Director of Music.
ETS. Right. Write some names of instruments out for me, just there for a minute, while I'll help Gary, just for a second. Have you got a pencil? Where's your pencil? Because I want to use this one. OK, well, 3 flats. Now we want 4 flats. Then you can do these.
So now we've got one more permanent one. A permanent point I would give to a 1 to promote to a 2.
In that case, it's Pam or Alan or Dave Drake.
Yeah. I would go to make Dave permanent 2. He's been here. Yeah. He's been here a year or 2. He's a good teacher.
And that's my excuse for Alan Gregg. I can say the money still resides in your department.
Now, the reaction should be extremely exothermic.
Dave Drake will receive a scale point to take responsibility for computers.
3 times the quantities, so now we've moved outside to do it. It's melting, but not burning.
Neither of the available scale points will remain in the English department. Both will be used to create new jobs.
Oh, you wet blanket, you. It's finished.
But instead of simply appointing Adam Palmer and Dave Drake, Brian Tyler intends to advertise for a Deputy Director of Music and Head of Computers.
Isn't that a mite hypocritical?
No, it's what the people want.
Oh, I think it's a laugh.
Oh, you might think it's a laugh. You're deputy head, aren't you? You're all right, Jack.
Well, goodness me.
If they see
that a job is being advertised and it's not being advertised really because it's already so
Well, so what's your
obvious.
alternative? Not having a head of music?
Well, no one else going to argue about that. And Adam is becoming
There might be something
IC
they would
music.
want to argue about.
Well, they want locking up.
You don't have to do anything. It's
I do. I have to sit through meetings in there where they discuss it over and over again.
Yes.
That's what I've got to do.
Yes.
Great.
That's what you get paid for.
I don't get paid to.
Well, don't come to the bloody meetings. I'll see if I care.
Right.
The way the place is run is people discuss what's going to happen and decide on it. Right? What we're doing now. Why is that a joke? I can't see why that's a joke.
We're just setting up. We're deciding what's going to happen, and then we're going to set up a great, huge machinery to bring it about.
Yes.
Under the pretext of
But no,
free
it's not,
competition
it is
and
not a
advertising
pretext.
jobs.
It is not a pretext.
I mean, I'm suggesting that we do one or the other, but not both.
All right. So this way, what should we do?
We should decide what jobs need doing and advertise them if that's what we need.
All right, let's do that. I reckon what we need is somebody in charge of music, so Paul Nappert can be reprographics. Let's advertise it.
Well, OK.
Well, do you not see?
Do you not see the disappointment and the cynicism that's going to grow up from people who think, well, we advertise every job, but we know who's going to get the job anyway?
Well, some jobs it would appear to have a limited number of candidates, yes. Other jobs won't have, but it's in the nature of things.
Yes, all right.
Can we explain to the staff the ridiculous situation?
No, because no, they listen. I can't understand you guys. They want all the jobs to be advertised, don't they? They've said it twice. The heads of department said it, the staff said it, and they said it again Monday night.
Yeah, but with respect to all the rest of the staff, they don't really know the processes that we've got to go through to allocate these things.
Of course they don't, Colin. Of course they don't. Of course they don't.
I'd still think that to the majority of staff it will appear as a sop to them, to their requirement that it be advertised. And so we're just saying, OK, we're advertising.
Well, will you describe the alternative to me?
We've sewn
What
it up
alternative
anyway.
course of action is there?
To try and explain it to them, like Colin says, or to actually be honest and think about jobs and not people. You said that we, on the one hand, are trying to reward individuals, and on the other hand, are trying to decide on jobs which need doing. Perhaps we can't do both, because it forces us into this hypocritical position. Perhaps we have to decide what jobs need doing and how much they're worth, and advertise those.
It is not hypocritical, it is complex. because there are a number of jobs, all other things being equal, it would be nice to have covered.
Yes.
There are a number of people who, all other things being equal, it would be nice to have rewarded.
Yes.
So one sits here now and tries to marry the two.
Marry is a better word than rig.
Kingswood Summer Fair.
How are you, young ladies? 3 goals to 10p. This young man's having a go here.
The unpaid contribution to events such as this is typical of the contribution it is perhaps wise for teachers to make. No promotion could be dependent upon such commitment, but commitment can be conspicuous by its absence.
And the next, please. Where's your money?
Wait a minute! Just leave them there. Just
roll up, come on, let's get rid of them all. 10p ticket, let's get rid of them. Hurry up, grab your tickets, they're going fast. Right, let's go. Come on. 551 the winner. 551.
Just get it and then hand it. Well, wait till Mum Saturday goes. Look around. Stop!
Not too bad, Johnny, is it?
Look at Mum. She stood somewhere. What are you getting now?
Well, I said...
We've got at the caravan a little girl in a pink suit with blonde hair who says she's called Jolene and she's lost her mum. So if anybody out there knows a little girl called
Pick yourself a
Jolene...
nail, come on, if it's brightly coloured, it's a winner's stand. You can win yourself a pound for 5p. What more could we ask? No. Come on. No, hard luck.
Wrong. Pick out every single nail.
No, you're going to lose. It's not your lucky day. It's not your lucky day today. No.
Commitment alone is not enough in a contracting profession.
Thanks a lot.
Tomorrow, Bill Smith will learn from headmaster Brian Tyler that he must lose the salary and status that has been his for the last year.
I didn't know that was going to happen. So I told him to go away. Really? It looks like it, doesn't it? Do you mind?
Yeah, you can tell me off, can't you?
No, well, you're not going to like it. You are not going to like it. I've been trying to catch you all day, actually. Haven't been able to. Not to beat about the bush, Bill, and to put things to you straight, the way the cards are falling at the moment, I think at this time we're going to take the point out of the English department that you're now holding.
I was sort of half expecting that to happen anyway.
Yeah. We've got nobody to run the computer studies department, Jeremy having gone. Then Paul Knappett used to be a scale 4. Now, I don't intend to make him a scale 4 again, but what I intend to do is to offer a scale point for sharing his music responsibility. So that's what I'm doing with the 2. Right? Now, that deals the English department out for the time being.
Yes. So, I'm not quite sure what's happened, you see. The point was given to me on a temporary basis.
Used to belong to John Kay.
That used to belong to John Kay.
Yeah, yeah.
I was issued with the job description, which I assumed, having not been told anything to the contrary, that I had successfully completed.
Yeah.
But now that's been taken away.
The job, I've removed the job from the English department.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems rather
what?
Odd thing
Cruel,
to do.
arbitrary, unkind.
Yes.
Yes, yes. The point is that we have X number of...
I mean, it's ludicrous to have been a teacher for 10 years and to still be on a scale 1. It's ridiculous. There can't be many teachers, I imagine, who are in that position. Certainly who have had a scale point and then had it taken away, without there being any particular reason for it being done.
Well, I have no further comment until, you know,
rather than
after
Richard,
the meeting.
Rather than Richard take the rap, I'll take it myself.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, not all right, but yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean all right in the sense that you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yes, I understand what you said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, you know, I'd rather leave it until I've heard what the rest of the department have to say.
Okay.
Brian Tyler, himself an English teacher, must now inform the rest of the English department of his plans.
I don't know how to say this, so I'll just say it quite bluntly. Richard and Bill know what I'm going to say. We spent all day yesterday, the deputies and I, looking at the disposition of what scale points we've got and what the balance of priorities. And we have decided that the situation being now as it stands, we intend to remove John Kay's point from the English department.
As I told Brian when he mentioned this to me for the first time a few minutes ago, I can't accept that, and I feel that because we perhaps can't specify tasks as clearly as other departments can, that we're underpointed as it is, and I can't accept it.
It's a question of weighing up various enormously important claims and priorities and deciding which are the ones that have the priority. It's a value judgment.
The point had resided in the English department traditionally. Whether you think it should have done or not, it did. You've used the opportunity of John not returning to take it from a place where it was, by custom and practice, firmly entrenched. It's part of the departmental establishment of the English department, which now has what? Richard's 3 points, my 1. That's an English department in a comprehensive school of 1,000 with 4 scale points, 3 of them held by the head of the department.
That's right.
What are your feelings about that situation?
Very bad. Very bad. These things have a long history. They go back into the roots of time. I mean, there are places where scale points are deployed that I wish they weren't. But they are. And every time somebody leaves, you seek to readjust the balance, don't you, and redress it and relieve pressures where there seem to be greatest, and feed priorities where they seem to be most urgent.
We are now reduced to an establishment of 4 points. And the music department...
Unless I get a lucky break tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, but you can't assume things are going to happen in the future.
Yes.
I mean,
right, as we talk now, that is true.
Yes, you have made this policy decision with your cronies.
Yes.
There'll be four points for an establishment of however many there are in the English department.
Right.
And in the music department, how many?
How many people?
And how many points?
2 and 2 points, yeah.
2 points.
Yeah.
It's a very important fact that we have had this scale point in our department for many years, and it's now being taken from us.
Yeah.
And the other cases you mentioned are people, on the whole, mostly looking for fresh money to be injected into their departments.
Yes.
Now, you know, as an English specialist, which you are, I find it strange, you know, that you should have done this. I mean, I sort of appreciate your forward-looking feelings about the mathematics and everything, but I would have thought that you would have, as an English specialist...
done what? Done what?
At least maintain the status quo. Nobody's asking for any favours, but we've been kicked in the teeth, really, haven't we? Let's be totally honest about that.
No, you've been asked to make a sacrifice, I'd rather say.
Well, all right, we've taken our teeth out and given them to you. But, I mean, the fact remains that
I have to say that the introduction of the emotive phrase like kicked in the teeth isn't all that helpful. I've very carefully refrained from...
Your demeanour, as you gave us this information, suggested that emotionally you felt very embarrassed about
No, of course I do. Of course I do. Yes, I feel very embarrassed about it.
Well, you'll discover next year, Brian, won't you, just what the situation is when this point is no longer in the English
Yes, I
department.
will, won't I? Well, I'll be able to draw conclusions from it, won't I? You know, we'll see how it works out. It may be there, even so.
School lunch, the only major break in the school schedule. A chance for teachers and pupils alike to relax, either in school or out of it.
You're the one that someone's on about it, man. You just want to go out and...
The English department and friends repair to equally informal surroundings.
By custom and practice over the years, things have been done, haven't they? And
People have been done, Bill.
Yes, but we've done it, haven't we? You know, we're such a nice lot, aren't we? And we do these things, and we never sort of think, oh, yes, I ought to get a scale point for it. But now we're thinking, oh, well, that perhaps would be worth a scale point. And
it seemed to me that part of the reason why we'd lost the point from the department was the fact that we hadn't been forceful enough in putting forward the necessity of our having it. And that was partly because we hadn't got a suitable job description to sort of justify our having it either.
Well, you know, I mean, sort of searching my conscience and all that, you know, I feel, obviously, to a certain extent, that the fact that we've lost the scale point is, in part, anyway, my fault. Must be. Well, if I'd been so wonderful at doing whatever the job was, and everybody said, oh, yes, you know, Bill Smith, great, wonderful job for a year, you know, can't possibly take it away from him. English teachers are 10 a penny. And if you don't like it, you know what to do. Sadly, that is true. Science teachers, maths teachers are difficult to come by. English teachers, you can go outside and there they are, half a dozen, queuing up.
Pens and the pencils and organising the theatre trips and ordering the stock and all that sort of stuff, which we do anyway, and towards a more fruitful approach, which I thought was in, you know, organising what the curriculum was going to do.
Alan is right when he said, had we been able to come up with a realistic job description a month ago, this situation would not have arisen, would it?
That's right. Because you can imagine the gang of four sitting around, can't you? And saying, no, we've got this, and this.
Yeah. Computer studies,
we've got computer studies, we've got brass band and so on, which we can
see,
yes,
tangible things.
Yes, actual, palpable, yes, precisely, which we can put our finger on and say, this is what he's getting his extra money for on a scale 2. Then we've got the English department, and they haven't got.
They've got this sort of woolly.
Yes, ordering the pencils and that sort of stuff. You can understand why.
Yes. Oh, I can understand it.
It's not.
Yeah.
You've got 6 minutes to 1, chaps. We've got a minute to get back.
For the next 2.5 hours, pupils must take precedence over points.
It was not even my fault. I came to be there because my brother smashed the window and put the blame on me. We were playing shots outside my house and I was in goals. My brother took a shot and missed the goals.
And my pillow was a cushion that I made in school. On the walls was a polystyrene tiles, which kept it very warm. My door was a red curtain, which looked very good.
Sally, let's hear yours then.
I was sitting on my windowsill after just being told off. This is how it happened. I was in science, but in a test tub when my friend came along. When I got home, my mum told me off for making Willie sick. I couldn't be bothered to tell her what had happened, so I went upstairs into my bedroom. And that's how I became to sit on my windowsill. My room was warm and cosy, and I began to feel better. I opened the window and listened to the cars zooming by and the trees whispering.
For a teacher like Alan Grimes, these administrative rearrangements have professional implications. Teaching is a contracting profession and is already well supplied with English specialists.
It all happened when one afternoon I had a terrible time because one of the teachers had a slight misunderstanding, and I took it to heart.
But Alan Grimes has a first-class honours degree from Oxford, and for him to work in a department with little or no opportunity for promotion is a depressing prospect.
I sobbed my eyes out to my heart's content. My mother wasn't in my house. I crept round her K registration.
After school, the English department and the headmaster confront each other in the staff room.
If I may say so, you seem to me to have sort of erected some sort of concept as though this, as a sort of adversarial position. The English, you know, the English department done, somebody else advantaged. And really, it's not, I mean, one doesn't look at it, when one looks at it, in those kind of terms. One looks at the fair, it's not done negatively, it's not done, let us penalise the English department and advantage the music department. It's done on the basis of these are the number of options that we have. And so you make a value judgment in line with all the priorities. And that is how it's done. There's no kick in the teeth about it.
That might not be the intention, but that's certainly the result, isn't it? I mean, however you look at it, I mean, if one works in the English department, one is bound to see it as being a kick in the teeth or a soul down the river or whatever. I'm afraid. I mean, I accept that maybe you are doing this. Well, you're obviously doing it in the best interest of the school itself.
As I perceive them. I mean, I can be wrong. I don't like people saying I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, the global picture and all that.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously you are.
What did you imagine was going to happen?
I imagined you'd all be very angry and probably take some sort of punitive action, retributive action, or consider doing so, or
like
try.
What?
Well, well, that remains to be seen, as I said to Andrew last night. But I think that would be the wrong thing to do. I think that's...
But it's the case that Alan is unlikely to be promoted in this school. I'm unlikely to be promoted within the English department in this school. You know, and Lillian, and so on.
Yeah, I don't mind that. What I object to is the point being taken away for me to have a go at. I mean, if the point was there and I'd missed it, OK, fine, fair fight and all that, it's gone. But what you've done now is taken it away from me and given it to
Yeah, but the only way I
else.
could have not done that would be to have, instead of making this fourth priority, make it fifth priority, make it fourth priority.
Mm.
And my judgment was that in all the circumstances, including the ones you've just mentioned, it was fifth and not fourth.
Because I think we're losing sight of the fact that you have actually taken this point away. It's not simply a point that was floating and you haven't actually given it to the English department. You've chosen to give it to them. You've actually sort of pinched it.
Yes. But you have to... I mean, somebody has to decide whether they perceive there to be a need or not.
Yes, I agree, but I think that you're not...
My judgment is wrong. That's what
yes,
you think.
Yeah.
It is irrational because you think I've made a wrong judgment, therefore, to say, right, in that case, we aren't going to do our work and so on. I mean, that isn't a rational reaction.
No, we're not saying
Well,
that.
there's sort of veiled threats and so on.
No.
But you see...
There's a difference between work and morale.
Yeah.
And goodwill.
Yeah, but I mean, goodwill... See, by definition, goodwill isn't conditional upon reward, is it? So I don't think it's an appropriate word to use, actually. What is the nub of the anger?
You've taken away any chance that Bill, Lillian, Mary or myself might have of getting on in this school.
No, that's not true, Alan.
Why is it not true, Mark?
Well, because what I did say was that...
And secondly, if I might just put in, you've reduced the establishment of the department, and therefore, in sort of global school terms, you've reduced its standing.
For the time being. But if you look at the science department, I was much attacked for increasing the science department last year. And within a year, I've taken it away again.
Yeah, so it's back to how it should be. What you've done now is taken one from where we should be.
Yeah, so within a year, you could be back to where you were again.
Oh,
easily enough.
Well...
I have said on about 9 occasions that it was, in fact, next.
Yes, I know.
So it's somewhat over-dramatising it to say that I've removed all chance of promotion, etc., isn't it, really?
I don't know. I mean, we should only know that in 2 or 3 years' time, shall we?
Or next term, or whenever the next opportunity to make an adjustment occurs. Right?
Oh, yes. I mean, if that happens, fine. Yeah. But I don't think it will.
Why do you not think it will?
Well, because the way things are going at the moment. I mean, you are correct.
You think I'm now lying as I say that?
No. I wouldn't. I would never dream of doing that. I mean, the channels of communication between me and you are obviously blocked. And I feel I'm suffering because people are above me in my department, and you, and your henchmen, are not appreciating the situation. I mean, here is an opportunity to revamp this department, and you've let it go.
I've let it go?
Yeah. I think so. We are going to go downhill from now on, aren't we? We could do. I don't think we will, because we're good blokes.
Yeah, well,
and we will
question.
carry on doing what we've done already.
Right. That's right.
We'll be very bitter about it, but we wouldn't think of doing any sort of childish sanctions or anything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way I read it is that an opportunity has been passed over.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Hid a bright red hand. I feel very hurt, yes. Pride, I suppose. I felt that by removing my scale point, it had been made fairly obvious what the school thought of me, and I think I reached a stage where I thought, well, perhaps I shouldn't go back. I really did think that for a time. And I came back thinking, well, I should just do the minimum that's required of me, to hell with them all. And of course that lasted until about the end of the first period when I came into contact with the kids. And I suddenly realised that that's why I come back, because of the kids. And I like kids and I like teaching them and I enjoy being with them, and I just can't sit there and say open the book to page 49 and do exercises 1 to 30 or whatever. I just can't do that. Yes, it's obviously something to do with pride.
Not long after, another scale point did become available. It was put into the English department, but was offered to Alan Grimes, not Bill Smith. Subsequently, Alan Grimes, Andrew Mills and Richard Earle have all left Kingswood to take up promoted posts in other schools. Such staff movements are perhaps the inevitable consequence of a rigid scale structure designed to control the education budget.
I think my major concern is whether or not the country at large, and the county in particular, will be enabled to maintain current levels of provision, current staffing levels, current resource levels, books, equipment, buildings and so on. Because if not, then it will be very difficult to maintain the current standards of attainment and achievement of pupils. And it might start a spiral that we'd end up with underqualified young people, under-equipped to take on the new tasks which new technology and so on will present. Now that's a problem that all schools face.
Bill Smith must face the problem of continuing to teach with the same status he had when he started 8 years ago, Scale 1, with no scale points.